Welcome back. I'm Maggie, the host of our Neighbors Helping Neighbors podcast from Father Joe's Villages. This is a continuing series where we explore homelessness, its causes, and solutions to the issue. Our guests include experts and leaders in the space, as well as folks with lived experience and unique perspectives on homelessness. To learn more about our mission, visit us at neighbor.org and follow us on social media at Father Joe's Villages. Last week, we talked about the Investing in Children pillar of care, and today we're focusing on strengthening self-sufficiency. To explore this topic with me from Father Joe's Villages, we have Nancy Restrepo-Wilson, our Director of Social Services. We have Amber, a remarkable woman and client of Father Joe's Villages who benefited from the very programs we'll talk about today. Later in the show, we'll introduce Helen Coyne, one of our culinary arts instructors. And with me always, my co-host, Deacon Jim, our president and CEO. So welcome so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you for being here.
Hello. Hi.
It is great to be here.
Maybe introduce yourselves briefly.
Hi, my name is Amber Lucky. I am a current resident at Joan Kroc Center with my two daughters, 3 and 5. I've graduated from STEPS program for peer support in April of last year, and I just recently, last week, graduated from another program of STEPS for Restart for Program Property Management.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I'm Nancy Restrepo-Wilson, Social Services Director. And in my role, I oversee the employment and education services in addition to therapeutic childcare and the case management for clients that are ready to transition into housing, in addition to overseeing the renewed internship program for students to come in and practice at Father Joe's Villages.
Wonderful.
Right. And as you mentioned, Maggie, I'm Deacon Jim, and I'm the president and CEO. I'm privileged to be the president and CEO of this great organization that we have for Father Joe's Villages. And today's pillar, actually, strengthening self-sufficiency, is crucial because that's what it's all about. And it's a matter of being able to lift people up, tapping into their potential, right? And then having them go forward. We provide the resources that they need. I love Amber's. She's going to share about so much of how it's been impactful to her. I can't wait. But that's what it's all about, so that, like Amber and like others, that people can lift themselves up and go forward. And that's what it's all about. In today's focus, as you mentioned, we focused on children at one point. Very critical. We have focused on something as simple as meals. That's so important, right? The million meals we serve, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 365 days a year in 2 dining rooms. Absolutely crucial as well. And then, but today we're going to talk about, but how do people go forward? What about employment and education? What's that all about? And we'll hear about that. And all the other services that we provide in order to really strengthen people and have them go forward.
And Father Joe's is or has been called kind of a one-stop shop.
Mhm.
And so, Nancy, maybe you can start by telling us, why is strengthening self-sufficiency so important? Why did that make it into our array of services?
It really encompasses one of the values that we have in our creed, empowerment. And another one actually is dignity. Anytime we are able to take care of ourselves and our families and move forward with our lives, with our hopes and dreams, really it is a testament to our own self-sufficiency. Be able to have all the resources internally and externally to move forward with our lives. So I'm really proud to be part of Father Joe's Villages and having these programs that promote self-sufficiency for clients.
Tell us about those programs.
Very good. So with employment and education services, we offer so many different resources and opportunities for clients to explore their goals for their future employability, but also their own sense of growing in their own education. And again, it is important to have employability because that might be one of the leading causes for homelessness, when people lose their income and their ability to support themselves. So we remedy some of those issues with providing these opportunities and resources for clients. So at the Employment and Education Services, we offer one-on-one support. We offer group support with classes that address issues of either writing resume, interviewing skills, maybe improving their credit history, talking about change for their lives. So we offer what is called modules. And so we have several classes sitting down with clients and talking about these things. In addition to that, we do outreach within the community, bringing clients in or going where the clients are at for them to receive the resources we offer. And we do offer a lot of employment and education referrals. We have a lot of partnerships with organizations that provide these trainings for clients. And in addition, we offer those trainings in-house. And I am going to talk about those later on. We have access to computers, so clients can do online searches. They can learn how to use computers. We have access to phones as well, so they can make phone calls about their own benefits to the benefit offices. And we also have a clothing closet that is single-handedly supported by the Ladies Guild, who is a forever partner with Father Joe's Villages, where clients, all genders, could come in and receive clothes for interviews or for the initial employment weeks. And so those are some of the things that we do right now. And quickly, just to say, in 2022, we were able to support clients, about 800 clients, with 8,237 services, which means these 800 clients have many touch points of resources throughout the year. But in 2023, we have 9,067, so additional 1,000 services for over 815 clients. So we seem to have had the same amount of clients, but the services have grown. So before I get so carried away with talking more about the program, I really want to encourage Amber to talk a little bit about your experience with us. And before that, I mentioned earlier to you, you are an inspiration to all of us.
Absolutely.
You embody courage to take care of yourselves, but also love for your baby girls, whom we love at Therapeutic Childcare. And that level of love and commitment for your babies has you just in this beautiful journey where you are simply like a role model for many other people. So it is a privilege to be sitting next to you.
Thank
It
you.
is. It is.
So I guess, I'll start off very briefly. So as you guys know, 2021, my husband was still alive, and I actually overdosed on fentanyl. We were in housing through Father Joe's from 2018. It was through Rapid. My aunt actually overdosed that night too. I survived. She did not. So I really took that as God basically telling me to kind of get it together. And my children, my youngest was 1 at the time. My other daughter was 2.5. And they got taken away through CWS. 2 months later, I found Alcoholics Anonymous, which saved my life. So August 3rd, 2023 is or 2021, sorry, is my sobriety date. So I'm actually 2.5 years clean.
Wow. Yes.
Thank you. And the only way I was able to do it is very simply, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very admirable to do it for family or a job or other reasons, but for my own experience, until I was just ready to be done, and I realized I just didn't want to die, is when it stuck. Fast forward to last year. So last year at the time, sorry, I'm thinking about my husband. I don't want to skip over that. My husband also, he survived 8 strokes. My husband survived. He survived dialysis twice. He survived stomach cancer once. So actually, in 2021 is kind of when he was in hospice, and I'm really blessed to say that on his deathbed, I actually showed him my 30-day token from AA, and I promised him 3 things. I promised him I would get our girls back from foster care. I promised him that I would keep his legacy alive, and I also promised him that I would be clean, but my biggest thing is just never forgetting his memory. The 2nd of this month would have been his birthday, so me and the girls actually did the first time. We actually released balloons in the courtyard in his memory.
Nice.
But I'm very proud to have showed him my 30-day token, and my 3-year-old, she actually knows her dad's favorite color, even though she was an infant. But anyways, fast forward backwards to last year. So last year is when I was actually being evicted. You talked about hardships and hard times. Well, since my husband passing, I was down one income. I had my kids back maybe not even a month, and it took about 2 years for my CWS case to close,
Wow.
and I've survived. I actually got out of foster care when I was 18,
Hmm.
and so it was quite the humble piece of pie or pies that I had to realize that I was repeating the cycle. But Mark Stevenson was my really great therapist that works at Father Joe's, and he literally held the light for me when I couldn't even see it myself.
Wow.
And yes, I was repeating that cycle, but I was also breaking not one generational curse, but two of addiction and that. And so I was in a good place, but once again, I was being tested, and literally Father Joe's got me and my girls in a day before the sheriffs were going to come knocking and escorting us out of our apartment. And so the gratitude I have for that. Christy Drake, she's an amazing advocate through the district, and she got my oldest daughter in preschool. She got actually her school bus, which she loved, and she got my youngest daughter into TC. And because I had care for my kids and I had stability and I was able to focus. So I actually saw the steps. I saw peer support, and I said, hey, that's kind of my alley. I have experience, and why not get the education in it, right? So actually the same month my CWS case was closing, April last year, that same month I actually got peer support, and that was 2 weeks, and honestly it was life-changing. I think my biggest takeaway from that was learning the combination between talk and self-esteem. There was it was an amazing course. I mean, there was a couple of veterans in there. I mean, it was just an amazing life course. So I got that certification. Like you mentioned, the interview and the resume, one of the requirements for your 10 days is also to complete the modules, but I was also able to kind of get some confidence back to you because it was a very long time that I was out of this workforce. And, going through the modules, it kind of started out like, oh gosh, gotta do this, right?
Yeah.
But then towards the end of the mock interview, I really regained my confidence. I'm like, hey, I remember how to do this. Like even rebuilding my resume, I was like, oh yeah, I did do that X amount of years ago, and I do know how to do fits a format, and I do know how to wrap text in Google Sheets. So that was really nice, and this past June, I got set up with Sherman Heights Community Center. And I actually interned for their paid internship. And then last about 3 months ago, a couple of my caseworkers was like, oh, what about restart for property management? I go, property management. Like, I didn't wake up one day, but you know what? Another staff actually told me about it the same day. And I always say, like, I feel like that's God. Telling it to same people, especially people who don't even know each other. But I said, why not? The whole point of me this time back around is to really get some skills under my belt, and like you said, being self-sufficient, like that is the goal. So I did the restart program. I started actually October 24th, which is another sign. It was the day before my oldest daughter's birthday, and the last day of class was actually my birthday. And
meant
so
to be.
Everything is so meaningful.
I mean, I feel like, for me, on a side note, I wish if I could tell my old self one thing, it's get out of the way, because like the faster I just got out of the way and I just let go and let God, to say it very easily. I used to say that all the time, right? Let go, let God, Jesus, take the wheel. But I really actually executed it. And what I did, all these lessons have came up. But I mean, it was an amazing program. It was 2 different parts. So the first part was 4 weeks of the class. And like I said, the final test was 100 questions. I made a friend in there, and she finished first. She got 100, and I got 100.
Oh, good for you. All right.
Yeah. So that was, it was, I mean, I was, but it was really cool though, because there was so much I learned that I never thought I'd learn. And that was actually funny because there was like a flooding in TC the second week because of whatever. And I actually, it was the same week I learned about risk management. And so then I realized, like, my friends are like, "What's taking it so long? Why do we have to leave the building and go up this, exit?" I'm like, "Oh, that's why." And then the next week there's another contractor, and I realized, okay, everything is dry, so they're putting the paneling back.
Right,
And
right.
I never thought I learned that, but it was great. And they actually took us shopping, and you mentioned this clothing closet.
Yeah.
We went shopping. It was amazing. But I did heavily utilize that clothing closet, and I had this beautiful blue blazer. I use it all the time.
That's
No, but
great.
it really brought confidence.
Yes.
I ended up interning at a 970 unit property.
Wow.
It was a Promenade Rio Vista, and so it was
Mhm.
4 weeks
Yes.
paid, which is another blessing. And the first week I got hands on leasing. I got to shadow the leasing agents. I got to shadow on some tours. The second week was residential services, but I like to call it a chaos coordinator.
Yeah.
And I kind of had a
Makes
very
sense.
special, I kind of have experience with having young children. So I felt like with a lot of the residents and they just wanted to be heard. And, but I actually got experience in like the Yardy system, which is a very common system that is used in property. I've got to, do a thing. And the third week was maintenance. And so that was kind of my least favorite. I don't know what a screwdriver or flathead is. I couldn't tell you. I tried using my daughter's toenail clippers one time to undo one of their toys. I couldn't. But it actually been really exciting because I ended up, one of the things I did was I actually used a power drill, and I got to change the locks to show
that's
locks.
so cool.
Mm.
Yes.
And I learned how to actually rekey a lock. So it's like for these really
Wow.
tiny little pins.
Right,
And,
right.
no, but it was great. And then the final week, I got to just shadow the managers, and I just actually had this is my certificate.
Yes.
Oh,
All right.
She just graduated.
I love it.
This is and it was really special too because my kids came. Actually, I had
Yes.
more guests that were there for me than actual people that were there. Like there was like if everybody from the board was
That's a
there.
blessing.
Yeah, and it was like both my pastors came, my kids came. Actually, one of my neighbors that actually watched my daughters. That's another person I have to give a huge shout out to because I don't just trust anybody with my children. She actually did the pickups for me and the drop-offs. It was 9 to 6. It was very intense. It was very hard for me as mom guilt to do that
Right.
because it was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard. It was I would get home and I would just have to feed them and brush teeth and that was it. And there was these sacrifices that I was making, but I was really proud of myself for not giving up
Yeah.
and showing them what responsibility looks like.
Mm.
And of course I spoiled them on the weekends. We went to a lot of places. But no, I'm really proud of that. And so we actually had our graduation. We have our official graduation, the professional one. And and I'm just really excited for my future. So, and it's all because of you guys.
Oh,
Such a brilliant, amazing story.
All we did was provide the resources.
Yeah,
You did the work.
You
And
did
I-
the work.
You're incredible.
And I just
Yes.
like to mention too, I feel like that's another conception too, is that there are many resources at Father Joe's. I think the biggest obstacle for some people to come in there is a matter of like executing.
Right.
Not everybody is going to do everything for you. You have to want it, and there is everything there. Like you said, it's a one-stop shop. It truly is. So, yeah.
And you embrace that resilience.
Thank
Yes.
you.
So thank you.
Of
What a
course.
beautiful
Of
story.
course.
A beautiful story. And
really
of course,
is.
we're so proud of you. We can't wait to see all of the amazing things that you're going to do and to watch your little girls grow up.
Yes. And my oldest is reading now as of last week, so that's my highlight.
Wow.
That's really great. And she's
Wonderful.
5. And
Yeah,
she's 5.
5 years old.
That's really great.
5 years old.
Wonderful.
I'll tell you what, I've seen you, Amber, from the very first time I met you, is that you have this resiliency, but also you seize opportunities.
Yes.
You really do.
Yeah.
And just the way you described what you went through, I mean, the fact is you dove into it, right?
Right.
And you didn't like the maintenance aspect of it, and yet you were using a drill
Yeah.
and changing pins on the lock and so forth. I mean, you really embraced that,
Yeah.
right? And that's why you're going to be great going forward. No doubt in my mind.
Thank you.
No doubt.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us
Of
today.
course. Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
The
Yeah,
story of your transformation is so inspiring.
really is.
Thank you as well.
And you mentioned that
Nice.
you did it for you were just sick and tired in a sense. But what I've seen, because I've heard you speak before, and even today, is your selflessness. Will you speak about your husband, by the way? Oh my
Oh, yeah.
gosh, you must have really loved your husband. I
Well,
mean,
he
it's
put up with
quite
me.
evident. He put up with you. I mean, No, but you were there for him during his illnesses, and that's hard, right? And so, and one of the things I remember when I first met you, you said you didn't say Father Joe's saved your life. You said because of Father Joe's,
They're my kids would be orphans.
your
My
your
kids would
your
be
children
orphans.
if not would be orphans.
Yeah.
That's a very selfless comment. It wasn't
Mhm.
it wasn't focused on yourself. It was focused on the need of your children,
Yeah.
that they would need a mom, right? So you're great, Amber.
Yes.
You really are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Aw.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Our next guest is Helen Coyne, one of our Culinary Hearts instructors. She is dear to all of our hearts. And you are actually in our Culinary Arts program, which is part of the umbrella program that Amber is a part of. Is that correct?
That's right.
Perfect.
My name's Helen Coyne. I've been with Father Joe's going on 3 years now. Super excited to be here and work with students. I've been in the food services industry my entire career, worked at a lot of different places from fast food to fine dining. I've worked front of the house and back of the house. Of course, my passion is baking and pastry. That's why you like
It
my
shows.
cookies.
Yeah.
But I got into nonprofit work a few years ago, and I found my way. I found my home at Father Joe's, and so that's what I do. Is I teach culinary arts, and it is a job training program.
And so, what does the program look like, and what impact have you seen on your students?
So the program is a 12 to 16 week program. I have had students come in for shorter times, and what happens is it's tailored to what my clients need. And sometimes they have the experience in the industry. They just need to get back on their cutting board with their knife, get their confidence back, and then I refer them over to EES, which is our Employment and Education Center, and they're able to get their resumes worked out, and we have lots of job leads there. Yeah.
That's wonderful. So these are folks who are staying in Father Joe's Village's shelter and are looking to do this training program, utilizing the additional resources to gain confidence and build mastery and then get back into the workforce.
Yes.
Wonderful. Tell us about a success story from one of your students.
Well, I have quite a few.
Yes.
And right now, I'll just talk about the last class that graduated, and all of them are on their way into jobs. And in fact, I just spoke with Amira, who's over at EES, and she's speaking with one of the clients and looking at a hotel that I used to work at, and I have made a referral for him to go there. So she's working hand in hand with him, polishing his resume, and he is ready to go. And the other two, I think, have interviews in the next week or so.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. And tell us about the graduation ceremony. I heard it was very impactful.
Well, it's very unique, our
Yeah.
graduations, because my clients got to make all the food, plan the menu, make all the food
Yeah.
for
Right.
the graduation.
Mhm.
And there were many different things. They decided to do a lot, but they pulled it off, and everybody loved it. We had a charcuterie board. We had some cold soup. We had some hummus and pita bread and crudité. I can't remember all that we had. We had some hot items.
It was a
We did. You
spread.
did. It was
Yes.
delicious.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Yes.
delicious.
Cookies and pastry.
Of course.
Oh,
Yes,
The
of course.
scones.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
so when you go to school, you write a paper to
Uh-huh.
prove that you learned the skills while being trained. The culinary arts students really had to put all this beautiful spread as their final test, and they
That's right.
excelled at it. They were
Yeah.
fantastic. All
Yeah.
of them are. And you're a fantastic trainer, Helen.
You know, I think the best part about that is seeing their friends and family come to the
Mhm.
graduation. They were so proud of what they had created, and their families just were so excited about trying the food and seeing them graduate. It was, oh, I get chills just thinking about it. It was great. And I am starting a new culinary program in the next week or so. I have some clients who are already enrolled, and we'll be getting started shortly.
That's great.
It's so invaluable. Listening to Amber talk too, you hear about, nervousness and hesitancy to get back into the job force. It's hard for anyone to get back in once you've been out. Imagine if you're dealing with homelessness or losing your kid, or, So these programs are building mastery and confidence, and it's invaluable.
The other thing that happened with my last class is each of them discovered this passion they had for cooking. And they were like, I'll try culinary arts. All three of them.
Mhm.
I'll try culinary arts.
Mhm.
And all of them were struck with this passion for
Right,
it.
right.
And it's just, for me, that's such a huge payoff to get that confidence and that passion. And, that will drive them to be successful in this industry.
Well, it's because of what you instilled in them, and I could see that at the graduation. The remarks that they made when they came up for their certificate, or the remarks they made, they have such huge respect for you. I mean, and because you were able to instill that in them. Again, it's just tapping into their potential. As I said before, I mean, they have it in there. Sometimes they lose hope for various reasons, but it's reinstilling that hope, because they really do have it in them, and that's what you saw in each and every single one of them. And so now they're going off and talk about self-sufficiency, huh?
Yes, yes.
That's
I
great.
cannot wait to see where they end up and what they end up doing. So super exciting.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And this is just one of the many programs within
Right.
our education and employment center.
Yes. And before I tell you more things about the program, I actually would like for people to know where you are training the students, because you have your own house with a kitchen, in addition to utilizing the amazing kitchen at Father Joe's Villages.
So we have a lot of opportunity and a lot of hands-on training. So I have a small kitchen and a really nice classroom where we do lectures and testing and things like that. And we do some work in the smaller kitchen. I love getting into the commercial kitchen, because that's what the kind of kitchen and that's the kind of equipment they're going to be using when they're in the industry. We have 2 kitchens on campus, and we utilize both of those kitchens, and they're able to learn so much by using that equipment, working around other staff members, seeing how other things are done while we work on our projects. Yeah. So it's incredible, the space that I have to teach in, and the classroom space. And yeah, it's a great resources that we have at Father Joe's.
Yeah.
And at the graduation, they each received a gift. You want to describe that gift?
Oh, they received a gift of a brand new knife kit, Culinary Arts knife kit.
Amazing.
So I think it's about 6 knives in there and a couple of other tools. Very nice. It goes right over your shoulder. It folds up, goes over your shoulder, and they can take that on to their jobs where they're working. So they leave with their chef coat, their whole uniform, the correct shoes, the hat, everything, and the knife kit. So they are really ready to go. There's a lot of places that provide uniforms, and there's a lot of places that do not. And there's some places provide knives, others do not. And it's really makes you feel so much more professional when you have your own knife kit.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Beautiful.
It's really great. That's really great.
And all of that is supported through the skills and training enhancement program that we have, STEPS. Yes.
Right.
The uniforms and the shoes and the
Mhm.
hats
Right.
and all of that.
And supported, speaking of support, supported through philanthropy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
100%.
that's a program that, for the most part, is funded through philanthropy, and it's so very, very necessary. We just expanded
Remarkable.
that program. We opened up
Yes.
in a new area, and we had a grand opening in that regard earlier,
Yes.
or later, I should say, the last part of last year,
Yeah, September.
and in
Yes.
September,
Mhm.
and it was just great to see the people who came out at that grand opening, right?
And the
To support us,
testimonies
and the
and success
testimonies.
stories.
That's exactly right. I remember Terry's testimony at that event itself. I mean, he
Yeah.
having gone through the program, but that's again a testament to the community.
Yes.
They see the need. They see along with us. They see that need, and they step up. right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. We see in Amber, for example, the result of all these efforts towards their outcomes, basically efforts that an entire village really provides for the clients. But those resources and the staffing and the infrastructure that we have would not be possible if we didn't have the support from people in the community, from funders and donors. And the Employment and Education Services Program was renamed. So we had the renaming ceremony in September, and it was because of this philanthropist, this wonderful human being who left his legacy to Father Joe's Villages.
He did.
Eugene, is Eugene or Gene?
Gene, it was Eugene, but he
Burkhart.
went by Gene
Yes,
Burkhart.
and
right?
so he's a benefactor, and without him, honestly, we wouldn't have the space that we now have. It is a beautiful space with brand new computers. Even the staff members have their own little offices where to operate from. We have a small space for classes where we do the modules that I spoke about earlier, and a bathroom even for clients themselves, because we have a lot of clients with disabilities. So now they might be able to have their own bathroom. And it's on a first floor, easily accessible for clients in the community.
Exactly.
So it is a beautiful thing that we now enjoy because of benefactors.
Exactly.
And because
Like-
they believe in us.
Absolutely.
They believe in what we do.
Well, and
they
those
believe in our
and they believe
neighbors.
in those who we're blessed to serve.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They understand that the difficulties, the challenges.
They seem to
Right.
know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We have a little more time. I want to hear
Great.
briefly about your other programs and if you could touch on homeless court too, which is so important
Yes.
for
Yes.
removing
Yes.
barriers.
Very good. So, yeah, removing barriers basically is at the core of the employment and education services. And building clients' sense of self-esteem and self-worth and capacity, and for them to feel that they are capable to keep moving forward with their lives despite of the challenges that they come with. And so employability and training them on skills. I just want to go back a little bit with Chef Helen, that not only you train them to become chefs, basically, but you also train them to do kitchen fundamentals. Even if they didn't complete the entire course, they are trained enough with great skills for them to be able to be a prep cook at a kitchen. And we also provide some trainings even in dishwashing for some people that want to start in the food industry. We're doing that. It's a minimal job, but the core of EES and the skills and training enhancement programs are really to help clients get meaningful salaries, salaries that will give them the opportunity to save and the opportunity to pay for a house, a rental, or for some people, hopefully we'll get into mortgages, who knows. But so what we do is really helping eliminate these barriers to employment. And we do that with the skills and training enhancement program. And so I want to say one thing about it. I believe that started as young as Father Joe's created the organization, that employment was one of those key factors in helping our neighbors. And I believe for the last 20 years, we have Ray Sai as our manager, has been committed through and through all the
Shout out
changes
to
and
Ray.
challenges.
Right.
Yes. And for 20 years, he accomplished 20 years of Father Joe's. He has been able to lead the program through all these challenges. And so with that, with the skills and training enhancement programs, we now have a lot of partners, not only to provide training from outside organizations supporting our clients, but we have this part that I believe Father Joe himself called it the University of the Human Spirit,
Right.
which is our staff, like Chef Helen, our mentors and trainers within Father Joe's. So we have a component that is part of that University of the Human Spirit, that is part of our skills and enhancement, training enhancement program. So we have clients being trained in building maintenance, warehouse,
Forklift driver. Right?
yes, and actually they are trained with a trainer that is OSHA certified, so they could get good salaries about that. But we also have maintenance, janitorial services. So our security staff,
security guard
yes.
training, right?
So our security staff, our operations staff, our kitchen staff, facilities staff, they have staff members themselves coming in and providing the mentorship to the clients with a set of skills. It's not just like follow me and shadow me. It is really a set of skills. You know that very well from the training that you do. And so the other trainers our mentors provide that.
Mm.
And so in addition to that component that Father Joe's called the University of the Human Spirit, once I heard that from our chief programs officer, Ruth Brulin, I got hooked. I said, okay, I want to be part of that, and forever we're going to continue to do this. So in addition to that, we bring other partner resources. So Restart is the property management organization. And Amber was wonderful at describing what it does. Not only they provide them with the trainings for all these weeks, but the mentorship, like one-on-one support. Someone in the industry will continue to work with them for an entire year. And they also help them with jobs. And the salaries are pretty good salaries for our clients. And so in addition to that, we have peer support counseling with an organization, NAMI, which is a mental health organization, or RI Resources, or Recovery International. And Amber actually was one of the graduates. She mentioned that in April. So we have a lot of resources, a lot of partnerships. We bring the clients to train, or we send them to be trained at these many different organizations. And so another barrier to employment and education is, and even housing, is the legal situation that many clients get into. And so the San Diego Bar Association Foundation has provided us with this ongoing support over the years to be able to fund supporting clients' legal cases. So we have our homeless court, and we are one of two organizations. The other one is the Veterans VVSD. So the Veterans organization, so they also provide court representations. They help clients clean records. And I have some numbers I'm hoping to get here. So in 2002, 209 cases were dismissed, and they are these misdemeanor cases. Any other high criminal cases, that's a different story.
These are trolley tickets,
Yes,
encampment
and
tickets.
Exactly. Primarily, and what is interesting, I think, is a correlation between what the city is doing now in cleaning up the streets, I guess, and not giving clients a lot of tickets, housing them or sheltering them in different locations. So 2022, we had 209 cases dismissed. In 2023, we had 162, which were less because there were less parking tickets or public nuisance tickets.
Or loitering. Yeah,
Exactly,
right.
given to clients. And so that is hopefully a good sign that collectively in the whole community, people are doing things. So anyway, so with the homeless court, we're able to also help clients eliminate some of the barriers to housing and employment. If someone has a record, they might not be able to rent an apartment. So we provide those resources for them as well.
Right. And that homeless court is held in-house at Father
So
Joe's.
for about a year, during COVID, it was virtual, but for about a year or so, we're now doing it in person.
In-house.
So we're doing it here, and we're also doing it at VVC.
So a judge comes in, there's someone who defends the
public defender.
Public defender, that's right.
And then we also have a staff member as an advocate representing the client too.
Amazing.
It's great.
As always, we have so much to talk about and
Yes.
never enough time.
Yes.
And I just want to thank you sincerely, not just for your time today, but for everything you do in our community and for our neighbors.
Yes, thank you
It's
so
an
very much.
honor.
Thanks for
Yeah,
being
thank
with
you.
us. It is an
Thank you.
honor. Absolutely.
And thank you for joining us. Homelessness is a human story, and at Father Joe's Villages, we're more than service providers. We are a movement and a catalyst for change. On our next episode, we'll bring more important topics and solutions to the table because we're all neighbors helping neighbors. Until next time. How are you going to get involved this year? You can make a difference by donating cash, volunteering, donating home goods or clothing, shopping in our thrift stores or online website, or engaging in planned giving. Take action today at neighbor.org. There is hope in every step, and we hope you walk with us as we are all neighbors helping neighbors.